Well, we're still on this heated bill stuff. And Barry, how does this pertain to your case and what you're going through? I don't get it, but, you know, digging in the dirt, trying to find more dirt, is really not getting you anywhere in your situation. Okay, let me wait for a few people to show up here because I need to go pick up something in town. A very nice gift of something that's being given to me that I could use and have been using for 45 years. Hint, hint. Okay. So Barry posts on his show. Of course, this is shared information, but he's got time because he's in a jail cell, and he has that kind of time to do this kind of stuff. All this Edith Beale stuff. Well, for what I read, besides some inaccuracies on what I read, and there were certainly many, they loved the photographs. And yes, yes, as saying by Michael Sousey or whoever actually was responding on there, they did utilize some of my photographs. After all, you can't get an IMBD credit unless you actually contributed to the film. I don't know what's so complicated about this, really. But you can make it complicated if that's what you want to do. Scoring points or something. I don't get it. But no, actually, I do get it. Pardon me. So what are you proving by that, Barry? How is that going to remedy your situation in jail? How is that going to remedy you getting your freedom? How is it going to remedy you in this court case? I guess that's a key question here. Trying to dig up dirt in my past. The bottom line is they thought they were great photographs. That's a compliment coming from either one of them. Kent Bartram and or Michael Sousey, the director. What's so complicated about that? Now, wherever that information came from, I absolutely don't agree with some of the statements made. And I think there was a little poetic license that was introduced in there by the trolls. Because truthfully, I never had no big problems with either one of them. The writer or Bartram, who was a contributor just like I was. Research assistants. And I can't believe I'm actually still talking about this, really. I thought this was ended, but apparently not. They loved the photographs. That's the key words. They loved the photographs. That's what I read into that. And that's the key point that I'm holding on here. They loved the photographs enough to want to use it. Now, I never said that I was the only one that ever contributed to Grey Gardens. That would be really arrogant. I was just entitled under research assistance, that's all. I never said there was anything more than that. Never did. I don't know what the big shaboo is all about here on that. I simply made a contribution to the film, bottom line. That's it. Jesus. You go, girl. Not more than that. Because there's a lot of bullshit I was reading in there. I just call it poetic license. To fill in the blanks of something. I don't have any animosity to either one of these people that were involved with Grey Gardens. I felt very fortunate that I had anything to do with that film at all. I felt very fortunate that I got the opportunity to actually meet the woman. As I said, I'm not starstruck. I've never been starstruck type of person. But as far as getting character photographs of somebody, I thought this was a unique opportunity. And I took advantage of the opportunity. And I actually got to meet her. And that was cooler than shit. There's nothing more grandiose than that. I'm hearing all these stories and I'm saying, where the fuck is this coming from? But Digger wants to dig himself deeper and deeper by keep on posting on his YouTube channel. And as a result of that, I'm just more cemented in my quest to make sure that he gets the grandest sentence that the judge could possibly give him. I told you, no mercy, none. And what the fuck does Grey Gardens have to do with well, no, it's criminal libelous case that I have against you? What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I don't pretend to be anything other than I am, or my involvement in that film. Not at all. But I did and was afforded the opportunity to contribute in some form or way. And I'm not the only person that has ever contributed to that film. If you look under research assistants, there's a number of names of people in there, including Kent Bartram. We were all on that research assistants list. And it wasn't just me, and it wasn't just Kent. There was a lot of other people that had their hands into this film. No, I never said that there wouldn't be a film if it wasn't for me. Oh, come on, that's just an arrogant statement. Why the fuck would I say that? Film had nothing to do with me other than small contribution I made. That's it. Can't believe I'm still discussing this, really. The film would have went on, me or without. It just didn't matter. It so happened I did contribute. And if what's his name? Kent Bartram, he liked my photographs enough to want to publish it in his book. That's a compliment. And when the writing's there on Barry's community page, I've seen some good comments in there. Besides some, there may have been things that have been extracted, but there may have things have been added to that too. But no big shit. I don't have any issue with Kent or Michael, who's the director. I have no issues with them at all. I have no reason. Kent, only thing with him, through the years, yeah, I've wrote and said, yeah, when's this book coming out? I'd like to see if you used any photographs of mine. Maybe you want to buy the book. Because anything to do with Grey Gardens I had an interest in. And since my photographs were involved, I said, cool. Nothing more or less than that. You could write all you want about Grey Gardens. It's came and gone. It was what it was. It is what it is. It won a lot of nominations. And yes, whether Kent or Susie or the trolls like it or not, I did indeed contribute to that. I was written by one of the costume designers years ago, in fact, and I really wish I still had it, that said that my photograph did influence the outfit that Drew Barrymore wore on there. That was a compliment. A compliment, not a put down. It was a compliment. I don't remember names. It's been like fucking 20 years. I don't know how long it's been, really. But it was indeed used for that. So what's the big spiel about this? I don't know. What's the big deal? There isn't any. How many people out there, I could ask, did you ever have a credit of any sort on any kind of a endeavor? A movie project, whatever it might be. Did you? That's an honest question. I did. It's not like I was an actor in a popular film. I've never been in a movie film. I've only created one. It wasn't the greatest thing in the world. It was a documentary on Hawaii, but I enjoyed doing it. But that was it. I make no claim to fame other than the fact that I enjoyed the fact that I did have something to do with the film. The film did not involve around me, and not even in the least. never involved around me. They could have gotten by without my photographs. But since my photographs were contributed, they made use of it. I'm glad they did. I don't know what's so complicated about that. And Barry, man, you're just going to have to learn the hard way. And believe me when I tell you something, dude. The shit you said about me, that's why you're in court. Just face the fact you're going to prison. And you're not going to be staying in the detention center for too much of a long time. I'll almost put a guarantee on that. You run your mouth a little bit too much when you're not even supposed to be using your phone, but you're always posting and I'm always screenshotting it. Believe me, I'm going to bring everything out in court that I possibly can or that I legally am able to do. And I'm not going to be happy until I see your ass in Bicuton or wherever they decide to throw you. You got my word on that. You got my guarantee on that. No mercy on your ass because you don't deserve it. At least I gone beyond the level of a waffle flipper. Way beyond that level. The question you have to ask yourself, Barry, instead of critiquing me, is critique yourself. What have you done in your life besides getting into trouble? Going to jail, 6 months for beating your wife up, owing people money all the time, and saying that you don't owe anybody any money, when everybody knows exactly what you did. Where did that get you? And, better yet, where is it getting you further? Nowhere. So you can put all the posts on your community page that you want. You're just fucking jealous of other people. And I think there's other people that are jealous of me too. No, I didn't have this illustrious career in photography. Never did. Never said I did. All I said was I loved doing photography. I loved doing character pictures of people. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. And that's exactly what I did. So I did something, at least for myself, that brought enjoyment and seeing the end results. In regards to Edith Beale, it's really simple. I was lucky enough to have met her, broke bread with her, to be able to spend time sitting on a lawn chair outside and talking everything from the Kennedys to you name it. That was a unique opportunity. I don't care what the fuck, Susie or the other guy, what he says on shit. I know what happened. And they admitted, well, yeah, his photographs were great. Thank you for that. Thank you, Kent. You wouldn't want to use them for your book if you didn't like the photographs. And were there any other photographs taken of Edith? Of course there was. People were clamoring to take photographs of her if they could. And a lot of photographs have been taken of that family for like decades. Decades. Because they were an interesting family. The whole history of the family, the relation to the Kennedys, the whole shitbag, you know. She was just an interesting character, period. I don't know what the big hup-de-doo is all about this, but it's just pure jealousy. Give it a rest. The film is over. You can't change what can't be changed. Did I have anything to do with that film at all? Yes, I did. Was it huge? No, not really. Did I influence a costume designer with that? Yes, I did. No matter what Kent Bartram says. I know because in one of my comments that I got in the past, and I was on a forum with Grey Gardens, I can't remember the name, but one of the people who were responsible for the attire, possibly I guess it was a costume designer, said that yes, it was used. It was used. I'm glad they did. So yes, I did have a little tiny bit of a hand in the Grey Gardens movie. I didn't write any scripts for the old movie, the original documentary. I didn't write any scripts. I wasn't part of the cast on the HBO movie. Never made such a claim at all. Never made such a claim. The only thing I did ask, I think, was the writer, Michael Sousey. I said, when they were putting together this film, since Jerry got to be in the film, which was a big joke, and even Kent Bartram will admit that, so will Michael Sousey. Jerry. He was a character, man. And the only reason Jerry was in the movie is because he went there and he knew they were filming. And he threw himself in there, is what he did. Ask any one of these two gentlemen about that and see what they say. And I did ask him once, I said, hey, can you change the script a little bit? Can I get in on this little action here? Because there was, in the original documentary, where a photographer showed up. He was trying to get some pictures of her. That's not the way it worked with me, but the guy was hiding through some bushes and wanted to photograph her, but Edie kind of, turned around on that, and she actually invited him in. Yeah, I could have been utilized, I think, in something like that, but they already wrote the script. It would have been my 15 minutes of fame, or whatever you want to call it, That's about it. There's not much more to the story than that. They did a film called Grey Gardens. They did an original documentary with the Maisel brothers, and they did an HBO. I contributed some photographs. Obviously, they were used for something, because why would I get credit on there? Right, Kent? Right, Michael? Why? Just to throw names in there to show there was a bunch of research assistants on there? They don't do it that way. Obviously, I contributed something. There's not much more to say about it. And Barry, keep it up, man. Just keep it up. Believe me. You just make it a lot easier for me. And when the judge passes sentence on you, shit, I'll be the one clapping. I'll be the one clapping in there. Maybe along with my attorneys, but I'll be the one clapping. In regards to anybody had anything to do with that film, I don't hold any grudges against Michael Sousey or Bert or Kent Bartram. I don't hold any animosity to these guys at all. They were doing their job. I don't agree with what was said. It's hard to believe if that was true that they actually wrote that, because that's not the way I saw things, and not anything that I said, but whatever. It's not a big deal. But there was a little bit of dishonesty going in there too, because someone was acting as a proxy to buy my negatives, right, Kent? Through his lawyer. Right, Kent? That's what he did. He couldn't come to me directly and say, I'd like to buy a negative collection. Instead, he kind of went through kind of a proxy and decided to buy them that way. Kind of sketchy. But, Kent, you still have them. Take a good look at those negatives. Take a careful look. Take a careful look. Have them examined. And see what you find out about those negatives. Yeah, I got very underpaid for that. But you see, as the story gets better, I still have well over 100 images of Edie. And I had 50 above that 100 that was actually sold. I made some pretty damn good money on it, for the time anyway. Remember, you're selling your negative collection. That's it. Now, these images were not included in the sale, the previous sale. These were other negatives I had. I was basically selling predominantly what was on my eBay site. There was about 35 different images on there. about 35. And what was bought off me originally, well, it was most of the 35 images that was originally seen on YouTube, not, eBay. But it had a shitload more. So nobody bought the entire rights to my negative collection. No, they didn't. They bought the rights to use and published those photographs. But I'm going to say, take a look at the negatives, Kent. Examine the negatives. Are you technically skilled? That's all I'm going to say. Take a look at the negatives. That's all I'm going to say on that. See, they tried to shortchange me on what I was asking for. But the negatives that I sold was just a small part of how many photographs I actually took. Again, in sequence. Initial sale of those particular images in the form of negatives. Down the line, a sale of at least 50 images to an individual not related to Ken Bartram or Michael Soucy for a specified amount of money that I mentioned on here once before, actually. Had nothing to do with the sale to Kent Bartram's proxy. Okay? Nope. And I still have at least 100 more images in the form of negatives. I think I made out pretty well, actually. Still have them. Still have them. And that's no lie. Still got them. So, nothing was at loss. When you look at the picture down the line, there was no loss. No real loss on the photographs. Or the negatives, shall I say? No big loss on that. And let me see something here. Oh boy. I've got packets of more negatives. Packets of more. Packets. Nobody bought my whole collection. Nobody. I'm glad they got what they wanted, but no. I got plenty left. Just the particular ones that were advertised on eBay, I made available to whoever wanted to buy it. And they were bought. But then a big paycheck came, and that was a small paycheck as far as I'm concerned on the rest of the negatives. I'm not talking about the ones I still have, but the rest of the negatives. Because actually they were worth a lot more. It's like giving up a body of work. More negatives in here. More negatives here. And take a look. If you can see the images in here, that's Edith Beale. Let's see. As I said, I gotta organize this shit. My Polar Bear Club collection. All those are in here. Got everything scattered right here. More negatives. These are Edith Beale. Gotta put them back in a manila envelope. And possibly just package this a little bit better because they're in good shape. They're in really good shape. Yeah, they can. Yeah, they can. They absolutely can. For example, I wrote, "Don't trash this." These are Polar Bear Club negatives I have. They're very sealed very nicely in this envelope, and Yeah. But there's some miscellaneous Edith Beale material here that I have to gather because some of them are scattered. I want to put them even more here. Here's another set. I got to keep them together. Edith Beale negatives. He didn't get the whole collection. Nobody got the whole collection. More here. Here's even more now. Nobody got the whole collection off me. Poppycock. No, 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 no. No, not at all. I'm just kind of going through this shit as we talk. No, that didn't happen that way. I sold what I made available to sell. That was it. And they do have the rights to those particular. They absolutely do. To those particular negatives. No question about that at all. But they didn't buy my whole collection. Think I'm that goddamn stupid? Not at all. Okay, I'll sort through this later. It's kind of getting hot in this room. Oh, the polar bear stuff? Yeah, but it wasn't, it wasn't your atypical pictures, of them swimming in the water. I started doing that. So did everybody else. So I went all the way to Brooklyn and Coney Island on the weekends in the winter. I decided, let me get to know these people and their personality. Then I photographed them one by one. And I had no photographs, none, of them swimming in the water. Everybody and their grandma was photographing them in the water. I took a different approach. I photographed them in some really interesting situations or poses and you name it. I got to know them on a one-to-one level. That's what you do as a good photographer. That's what I did with Edie. I didn't spend months knowing her. Not at all. There's quite a distance between my home and where she lived in East Hampton. I couldn't do it all the time. Well, they are epic. They are epic. Now, I'm not a millionaire like, Kent Bartram, who travels to Rome and Germany and all this crap, or Michael Susi, the director. I'm just some poor slump. That's all. I'm not rich. But I'm easy pleasy. And something that some people might find as insignificant, I think of that, is really not to me. Here's some poor boy walking around in East fucking Hampton, meeting one of the one-time most elite families in the fucking Hamptons. A little Italian-American boy in New York is going to get that opportunity to do that. Well, guess what? I did. Not only to meet the person, photograph the person, but actually see the fucking inside of the house. And that was epic to me. Well, to the right people, these are negatives that were not bought off me. These are not duplicates or anything. These are negatives that, it is images that have never been seen before, never published, never used. It's not like, it's photographs of the president or something, person, that people would go for. But if you were a fan of Grey Gardens and or of Edith Beale and her mom and so forth, then, it has value to it. Has value. It's value. Now, $40,000 isn't much, but not the batch that was originally bought off me, but I told you I had like 150 negatives left. And what was it, about 50 of those images I sold for 40,000 US dollars. That was a lot of money. For me, it was. I'm not a millionaire like these people. To me, that was a lot of cash. Then I have, what do I have? Like 100 left? I didn't count. I just started handling it right now. Then I realized that I did not condense all these negatives as I was taking a box apart. I failed to remember that I gotta consolidate this. I gotta put them all in one folder and highly protected. What will I do with these negatives? I don't know. They'll probably die with me. Probably. Shame. What's that? Now, you can call me anything you want. Anybody's description. No, as you said, if you've been listening to my show, I have absolutely no grandiose view of myself. I'm very humble of what I'm talking about. I'm not making no grandiose statements at all. If you listen to my show, you'd hear me say that the film would have went on without me. I have nothing to do with the success of that film, although I contributed in a small way. I don't think that's acting like I'm a grandiose, bigger than life character because I happen to have a few photographs that were utilized in one form or way. So I think you're listening wrong. You're taking things out of context here. Never. I never overplayed myself. I don't care what the hell they written in there. I never overplayed myself. I never said anything like, "Oh, the film couldn't happen without me." I've never said that. Not one fucking time. The only thing I got pissed off is the downplay of a few of my photographs. I've had a lot of people that bought photographs off me and complimented my photographs, how lucky I was to be there. That brought pleasure to me. It really did. When somebody, you do a piece of artwork, whatever the hell it is, I don't care if you're a painter, writer, or whatever. When somebody buys your product and they love it, they compliment it, it makes you feel good. Yeah. Well, it's not easier than said. It's easier. Yeah, not as easy to say. I'm not going to get rich on it. Let's put it that way. Some people have gotten regarded, but apparently the trolls haven't gotten over it. They're just fucking jealous. Had anything to do with anything. They're jealous I still got a really healthy relationship. If I actually made it to Hawaii, I'm not living vicariously through these other viewers and YouTubers out there. I'm living the life that I set out to do. I'm a poor schmuck. I'm not a rich man. I'm not Kent Barstrom or Michael Susi traveling to Europe and Germany and everywhere, and I can't do that. Fine dining and all that stuff. We're a different class, and I don't mean I'm low class. It was a different class financially. I'm not able to do the things that these people do. These people had to do with books. They had to do with writing, maybe the movies, perhaps. Here's a little bit of trivia for you. The Maisel brothers, who actually photographed the documentary, the original, are also responsible for the Rolling Stones film. Do you remember Rolling Stones documentary? Who's got the memory? Anyway, the Maisel brothers had to do with that film on the Stones. Well, at the time, excuse me, at the time, 40 grand was a lot of money for me. Like I said, I never claimed to be rich. And you gotta understand, there's night and day difference between me and these people. They got a lot of money. They lived a good life. Well, it's according to what you think is a good life. I think I live a good life. Apples to oranges type of thing, but I'm living the life I want to live, so I'm living a good life. No, I don't have their money to go to Germany and go to Holland and go all this crap like they do and eat fine dining, the finest wines, the finest menu. No, I don't have that kind of money, and I never will. Not in my lifetime. And I don't expect. Getting up there in age. I'm happy with the life I do have. I'm not behind bars. I'm not facing a trial like Barry is. Yeah. But no, I got nothing against Kent or Michael Susi. Kent made his contributions in a big way, more than I did. Well, Michael Susi well, he was like a director too. He was a director. Not one of them anyway, but he was. And I thought it was a good film. I've probably seen it, the HBO thing, about 8 times at least. The great thing about it is I could look at a movie and say, well, I could look at the old documentary actually, with the real characters. And I could say that, yeah, I've been to that house. I know the layout of that house. I could say that. And even the HBO film, right? Although that obviously wasn't filmed actually at Grey Gardens. It was over in, what was it, Toronto, Canada? I think they did in Toronto. And they built a set. A very, very good job. I mean, I know what the place looks like, so they did a good job. The stairwell, everything. It was just right on. The mirror in the receiving room as you come into the front door. The mirror that Edie used to stand in front of and adjust her scarf, and got a great shot of that too. Yeah, yeah, it's before your time, I'm sure. So all in all, it was a good experience. What can I say? I'm not trying to be grandiose on this. I'm not trying to overplay my part in Grey Gardens. I'm just saying that yes, Kent and whoever, I did have something to do with it. Bottom line, they could fill in the lines in between whatever they want to say if that was actually real. But just like Kent, he was just credited the same damn thing I was, research assistants. We both had the same credit line on Grey Gardens HBO. Comes down to that. Although he went a little further, he had a little more great researcher. He contributed a whole lot more than I did. And even wrote a book, which I still don't even know its existence. 10 years ago, I was looking this up, about this so-called book called Staunch Character. I have no idea. When I punch it in, Staunch Character book, all I've ever seen was material in it saying that he's working on this book. How many years this has been? I don't know, maybe it's out. I have no idea. I've never seen it. I've never seen his book. I would hope it's out, because his first proposal to do a book, that was decades ago. I would think it's out by now, but I don't know. I punched it in the search engine, and all I see is something that comes up with his name, that he was going to do this book called Staunch Character. That's all I've seen. I would think there'd be other references to that book if it was actually finally published, but I personally haven't seen it. If you find something, let me know, because I have no idea. Google is not telling me everything, I guess. Or maybe I'm blocked on Google. Who knows? But this insanity going on, the jealousy. Why be jealous? Why not try to accomplish something yourself? It doesn't have to be huge. Just accomplish something in your life, because you can look back on and be proud. That's all I'm saying. Nothing more than that. Nothing more than that. Then Barry writing on his commute. Oh. What's happening is that Don C is sending things to Barry, and Barry's putting it on his community page. He doesn't learn. Let me make you understand something, Barry. You will never be me. You will never have my experiences in life. I wasn't in and out of the law all my life like you are and were. Okay? You're like a babe in the woods compared to me. You never even traveled cross country in the United States. I never heard. Oh, maybe you wound up in New York since we got your passport. How'd you get that? Remember that one, Barry? You've been to Florida, you've been to Tennessee, you've been to some surrounding states where you got in trouble again, too. But where have you been, Barry? Where have you been? Well, if it did, I haven't seen it. I'll try to look it up again, but, Google ain't gonna lie. I was just curious to see what photographs did he use. That's all. I was just curious to know if that book was ever published. I don't know what Kensel, if that's actually him writing. I don't think so. But if it was, what would he be pissed off at me? Why would he be pissed off at me? He got what he wanted, through your proxy, Kent, right? What is that called? With an S? When you're using somebody else instead of yourself to, for example, purchase something but not under your name. Not proxy. There's another word that begins with an S. I forgot the word. I have this fucking allergy, man. But nevertheless, he got what he wanted and got his photographs for his book. Whether he used them or not, I have no fucking clue. Paid for them. He didn't do anything wrong. Except by some of the photographs, a little bit of deceit. By having somebody else, he was afraid to approach me to buy the negatives. So he had to have his lawyer buy it. Is that the story, Kent? No, that's not the words. That's not the words. I know what it is. It's in the tip of my tongue, but yeah. It's just a way of somebody doing something for you without your name being on it. For example, purchase of negatives or artwork or whatever, any endeavor. There's another word for it. No. If I think about it, I'm not going to be here too much longer, but if I think about it, I'll come out with the word. But no, I have nothing against Kent or Michael Susi, the director. I have nothing even going. Congratulations on being part of, I think, of an excellent project. You'll never measure up to the documentary, the original documentary, the Meisel brothers. Not even close. And that was real. That was real stuff going on there. And the HBO movie was a little bit over-dramatized. No, that ain't it. But it's the same, but it's another word. It begins with an S, but if I can't think of it now, I probably won't. Yeah. In other words, he found an underhanded way of buying the negatives off me. Didn't want to ask me straight off. No, he had bought the rights to certain images that he's used in his book. But then he went further than that. And through somebody else, he didn't want to put his name to it. I don't know why. But he didn't want to put his name to it. And bought some of the negatives. I said some. Key word, some. I had to do it about approximately 35 images. But as I said, had another 150 negatives beyond that sale. He did not buy my whole collection. He bought the collection based on what was part of my eBay selling. That's what he bought. Nothing illegal here, He bought what I offered to buy. I said I have a negative collection. You'll have rights to it. Nothing illegal going on. But I just happen to have more negatives. A photographer never gives up all his work. Neither does an artist. You don't give up all your work. You may offer some of your work, but you're going to hold on to things that are near and dear to you that you could never replace. But something like that, yeah. Brisket, something like that. Then Barry comes on, and I didn't even get, to tell you the truth, honestly, I didn't even read the rest of what he wrote on it. Again, you know how he's posting on his community page. Well, this guy is just straight out of shit luck, man. He is just, it's done. It's done. Expect something in the mail, I think, in the next couple of weeks or a month, Barry. We'll see what happens. Expect something in the mail at your cell. That's it. It's all she wrote in his case. I'm not stepping back on this case, not one bit. I'm going all the way with this, and so is my attorneys. Who? I have no idea. I never heard of that name. Could be somebody, an art director or somebody with the film. I have no idea. I don't recognize the name. There's a lot of people working in the background on this with the crew, casting, technical people, writers, not just one person. Um, Everything from costume designers, the whole bit. A lot of people played. There's a lot of hands in there, you know. Brisket says, bummer is toast. Or should I say, a burnt waffle. Very good, very good. But yeah, I have nothing against those guys working on the film. I have nothing against Kent or Michael Susi. I say congratulations to anyone that had anything to do with the film. It wasn't like a fucking blockbuster fucking movie with Sylvester Stallone, or, you know. Nothing like that at all. It was a unique film. Although, you know, the facts of the film, they weren't all there. They had to add a little bit of drama to it. The scene when Edie was pulling out her hair because she had alopecia. She wanted to cut all the hair off. I'm sure they dramatized that scene a little bit more than when it actually happened. There's a lot of things in there, I'm sure, that they had to air their own poetic license to make it, you know, viewable. Their book looks like a dud. Well, why do you say that? Send me a link or something somewhere. I mean, I'll look it up again, but I have not found... And the book should be called Staunch Character. I'm not going to buy it. Fuck that. I just want to see that the book is out. If there's any key illustrations in there or anything, you know. I don't really need to see any more images of Edie. I already have them, or most of them. I tell you what, I have seen my pictures on the internet that don't include my name. Someone's not giving me crap. I've seen people utilize my photographs as if it was their own. I've seen them in the past, how many years? I had no credit on them at all. Hey, what was they trying to argue? What was Barry saying in there? I didn't have any credit on any photographs or something. I had no sig- What the fuck are you talking about, bummer? But this guy is like, he's got his shovel out again, and Digger is just digging away, trying to find fault. Barry, you can't change what is. It says low rating, authored by Fem Burstein? Fem Burstein? No, that would be Kent Bartram. Where's Fem Bernstein come from? You going to tell me there's a book out there called Staunch Character by a different author? Maybe there's a ghostwriter on this. I don't know. No, but he advertised it. It had to be Kent Bartram. Like I said, I don't care what part they did with this fucking movie. In fact, I'm tired of hearing about it. I should burn the fucking negatives. Grey Garden, Grey Gardens, Grey Gardens. It was not the highlight of my life. I thought it was a great event to actually meet and get to know this woman, nevertheless photograph her, and have something of mine utilized in that film. That's great. It's all good. You can't complain about that. It's called Staunch, the Edies of Grey Gardens. Oh, that's something totally different. No, Edie used that name, you know, staunch. He was a staunch character. Anyway, that caught on. Anybody could capitalize on that word. No, that wouldn't be it. The name of the book is called Staunch Character by Kent Bartram. And I don't see it out there. They just use that word staunch. I'll tell you, this guy was staunch. Staunch character, and you don't mess with a staunch character. Then Edie was making reference to herself. In other words, don't fucking mess with me. She was a staunch character. She really was. Short time I've known her, man. In a very short period of time. In fact, she even used that word when I was talking to her outside. She made some reference to somebody. I don't know who the hell it was. It's been a lot of years. She used that word, staunch, two-word staunch character. It's Staunch to Edie's of Grey Garden. A lot of people capitalized on that movie. Let me just put this out there. The relatives are still selling bobbleheads of all things on Edith Beale. I'm not shitting you. So the relatives didn't capitalize on Edith Beale, huh? They sure did, and they sure still are. Imagine bobbleheads or anything. It could be a sticker that says Grey Gardens. And I'm not really sure where they got the rights to do this anyway. I have no idea because, as I said, if Kent Bartram knows the history that much, he should know that while her and her mom were living in that run-down mansion, practically eating cat food at times, the very people, relatives, including Jackie, only in a crisis when it was advertised that Jackie's relatives lived in squalor all over the headlines. That's when Jackie came in and had the place cleaned up. But prior to that, the truth, Kent knows. He certainly should know, and Michael Sousey should know. They didn't get any help from anybody, from the relatives. And even after that event when Jackie cleaned up the place for them, she just paid her electric bill from that point on, at my understanding. That's all I think she did. And again, Kent, he's a researcher. He could correct me on that all day long. But that was my understanding of what I read. So, the book is fiction. Yeah, okay. See, I told you. People capitalizing on something. People capitalize. I'm a capitalist. We're all capitalists. You all want money. You want more, right? People will capitalize, but sometimes they do it illegally. Anybody give that person a right to write a book about Edith Beale? I mean, Kent would have had to have, I don't know, I would think. I don't know. You have to ask his lawyer. Some kind of some license of some sort, or to authorize a story about the Beales. Something. I don't know totally how that works. I would think so. In this legal world, you got to watch, cross every T and dot every I. So I really don't know. But thank you, Kent, for purchasing those photographs, one-time usage. See, he wasn't happy with one-time usage. See, what Kent did, he went behind the scenes. And, I don't know, I just, without finding the right word, is like kind of by proxy, that he bought the other negatives off me under a totally different name. He had his lawyer do it, is what he did. And the guy I talked on the phone was a lawyer. I'm on there? Now, what do you mean I'm on there? Somebody using my photographs in there or something, or what was that? No, I'd have to look that up. So, hey, I got some fame. My name's being even used in some of people's books. I mean, that's a fucking accomplishment. My life has amounted to something, guys, On Kent's page. So what are you saying? There's a page from Kent in this particular book called Staunch to Edie's of Grey Gardens by Fern Bernstein. Is that what you're talking about? Oh, Kent mentions he himself. Barry wrote something in there that Don C. or something gave him. And right away Barry posted on his community page. Just like something stupid he posted before, which basically gave a rundown of something I had on the internet, which is basically a little background on my photography. And it was nothing, it was all complimentary. I don't know what Barry thought he was accomplishing by doing that. Okay, correct. But it's Kent's upcoming book, Staunch Character. Oh, the upcoming book. Still upcoming after 25 years? How many years have it been? I don't even know. He still don't have it published. I guess I don't know, maybe he can self-publish, but that doesn't work real good. To find a publisher that will publish it, but he could always do it on electronically. People are selling electronic books, right? Isn't that the new wave? It's been out for quite a while of electronic books. More kudos for the humble hero. There you go, man. I humbly say to thank you to Kent for using and buying some of my negatives and use it for his book. Thank you, Kent. I didn't get rich on that, Kent, as you very well know, but it was an honor. It was an honor, Kent. It certainly was. Illuminati Magicus says, eat your heart, Barry. Eat your heart out, Barry. That's a sick man, let me tell you. I didn't even get to read the rest of what he wrote on his community page. I went right off and I just did a fucking live now. Because I was laughing. Everybody can use whatever poetic license they want. They can write anything down they want, but it don't mean it's true. Or they could certainly kind of fiddle with the truth. Oh, that never happens. They do, then they have. Briskets. There's no waffles, not there. Still credited to Bummer. Right. Find me a waffle with Bummer's signature on it. Please do. I'll frame it. And by the way, somebody suggested to sell Barry's jail photo. That's the 8x10? Yeah. You guys want to purchase that? I'm a capitalist like all of y'all. I still have it. Still in the frame. No, I don't put it on my wall. Actually, I was joking around with that thing. On my fucking wall. I don't think so. That would create nightmares. But yeah, I still have it. No waffles out there. Still credited to Bummer. Hey, my name is out there in La La Land, man. Good or bad on the internet, my name is out there. I've arrived. Maybe not in a huge way, but I have arrived. I have arrived. I don't look back, and I will never say, I don't look back and say, oh man, I wish I would accomplish something in my life. Because I did. Not just Edith Field stuff. Oh, and then they were talking about, the New York Historical Society archives. Let me tell you something. They do not take anything in. It's not for money. That was never for money. Yes, I did contact them. I said, do you have an interest in such and such? I had 2 bodies of work that pertain to New York and the boroughs, that have some kind of historical value. And by golly, I did. And they were interested, and it was sent to them. End of story. No big hoopla on that either, really. I mentioned it. But that's about it. Yes. But sensationalists out there have to make it some kind of a sensation. I there's people out there that don't do shit with their lives, that never done anything in their lives. The very people that are highly critical of everything I do. Same shit, different day. Same lame comments, different day. And if you look at these people's backgrounds, they're all fucking losers. I don't mean necessarily financially. You could have all the money in the fucking world and you still be a fucking loser. Right, Don? Yeah.
Popeye, Barry, and the rest of the gang? Fuck yeah. Oh my God, do I have ants on this table? What do we leave on here? Oh God damn. You leave one little fucking scrap of food on this table. Then the ants come out in droves. It's just amazing. Just amazing. So Waffle Boy, how are you enjoying your midlife incarcerated in a fucking hot fucking cell with no fucking running water, you scumbag bastard? How are you enjoying that? I hope you are. Enjoy. There's more coming. I'll put a guarantee on that. Say all you want to say about me, all the little innuendos and straight out downplays and defaming and every damn thing else. But you're sitting in a jail cell, not me. Until that day ever comes that it could ever happen to me, you're the one that's in the cell right now. Not me. Not I, said he. But go ahead and read what Barry wrote, via Don C, of course, on his community page. Trying to make quotes from certain people that are false. Or, at best, has stretched the truth. Who Kent Bartram did? Her mom died. Oh, that's bullshit. Her mom was dead for how many years before I met her? So there's a false statement right there. I'm going to read what you just said. Wow, I just seen a staunch character Facebook site. That guy blasted you, said that you stalked her after her mom died. Her fucking mom died like fucking eons of time ago. I stalked her after her mom died? How old would I have been then? Teenager or something. That's what I mean. You can't believe you can't believe everything you read. I'll find that site. I'll find it. I'll find that. Total bullshit. Stalked her? I met her 3 times and we communicated. Stalk her? Stalk anybody. Nobody. Talk to Brevis about stalking. Not me. I had permission to visit her. I had permission to photograph her. That's it. Stalking? No. That's fucking ridiculous. But thanks for the info, though. Yeah, I see that bullshit, Luminar says, yeah. I will look at it. I will. Because that's defamation. That's defamation. He can't speak for Edie. She's saying to say that I stalked I stalked everybody. Why don't you say I stalked everybody? After her mom died. You know how many years it was her mom was dead before I met Edith Beale? Little Edie? She was dead for, quite a while. So that's bullshit. And I didn't write Illumina. I didn't stalk her either. And just to further this, I actually wrote to Roseanne on one of her sites. Yeah. And told her about the fucking trolls. I know how to contact people when I want to. I'm not new to this. I know how to contact people. Only interest I had in Roseanne was the days that she had her show. I don't agree with her politics, anything like that. Um, she was a good comedian, a good actor, and I got to meet her once. Not on a real social level, like she was doing a fucking book signing. It happened to be, of all places, Hilo, Hawaii. Because she lived up the coast, I don't know, 50 miles? I don't know the exact mileage. I've never been to her farm, never been to her house. Have I ever commented on her shows? Occasionally I'd comment on there. And the only time I did comment was, oh, you remember me? I'm the guy that gave you the picture of Edith Beale. And she responded back. Yeah, Roseanne responded back. Oh, did you want money for that or something? I said, no, I don't want no money for that. That was given to you. I wasn't looking for money. I wouldn't take it anyway, because it was meant as a gift. Because I knew that she was familiar with Edith Beale. I know she's seen the movie. And a lot of people liked Edith Beale. They loved that movie. Stalk Roseanne Barr. Yeah, right. If I was a fucking stalker, why the fuck would I want to stalk her? Her politics and mine are different. You know, other than being on a great show, I was never starstruck in any way by Roseanne. I liked, she had a TV show, Roseanne. I liked the characters on there. And none of them bothered with her. I've heard her saying it on her show that no one bothers. She don't bother with anybody on this show. She's kind of on the outs with everybody on the show, except maybe, well, John. I don't know. I think they're probably okay. But I keep up with some shit, you know. What else we got here? Yeah, it is bullshit, the Luminar. But Barry, I can't help but talking about this. Barry, listen up, man. Count your lucky stars that you're not already in Bikiton. Stop lying to your viewers, saying you've been transferred there. Stop lying about it, you're going to get married. None of that is right now is truth, and the other thing is not possible, considering the prerequisites you need to get married. If Barry found a way to get married, it would not be legal. Guaranteed it would not be legal under the circumstances. What, kind of like one of those, what do you call them people? Do things on the sly, you know, kind of under the law type thing. Because under the circumstances, there's no way that he can get married. And like I said, his only reason for ever wanting to get married, if that was even a possibility, because he figured that if he's got married, he don't give a shit about her. I don't ever believe that. The only thing that he wants, get legally married, if that was possible, to try to get him a stay in the Philippines. Remember, he likes to use tools, right? Who is Jerry? Oh, God. He was a guy that was a handyman for Edith and her mother. Jerry was a taxi cab driver in New York City who liked to do some sculpturing and stuff like that. Last he was selling sculptures. But Jerry appeared in a movie, and little Edie didn't like him at all. Big Edie, that was a different story. She was very humored by him. Ask Kent Bartram about that if I'm lying. Am I lying, Kent? Or Mike LaSusi? Was I lying? Do tell. No, Jerry got in the movie, and he became this really big hero. He wrote a book about Grey Gardens. And he lied his ass off. He lied his ass off in that book. I was sent a copy by Jerry himself. Okay. Yeah. And Jerry liked my photographs too, by the way. But the thing with Jerry Torrey is that he really over exemplified his role, which I never overdid. I never overdid. And the things he had to say were so incorrect, almost illegal, really, according to how you look at it. I mean, he really went overboard on his so-called relationship to little Edie and her mom. He just went overboard. And if Michael Sousey or Kent Bartram was listening to me, I don't think they would disagree with me one bit. Hold on, guys. I gotta get some water here. Barry. Marsha. No, I knew a woman in Brazil that my friendship, shall I say, with her was destroyed by all this nonsense on here, calling me a pedophile. Barry did and all that. Yeah, I stay in touch with her. She said, well, she stayed in touch with me. We kind of go back and forth. And how's your life going? Did you finally graduate your college? Blah, blah, blah. She said she followed my social media. And I know she did. I would hear from her periodically. And then it stopped. Around the time that Barry started spreading rumors saying I'm a child predator. So Barry says, what damages did I cause? You caused a lot of damages, Barry. He caused a lot of... Oh, yeah, Walter Newkirk is okay. Yeah, Walter Newkirk is okay. He did... Oh, that's the one I got. I got a book from Walter Newkirk. Do I still have it? God, somewhere. I told you, man, everything is so not arranged in this house. Well, Jerry, from everything I've learned, okay, first of all, the only reason Jerry got his face in that movie, remember, he worked as a handyman for the Beatles. He knew the rooms. He knew everything in there, He knew everything that was going on. Him and an artist lady that lived there, they knew everything that was going on with the Beatles. Jerry... Well, now, mind you, and if Kent or anybody's listening, they'll agree. There's no bullshit. Jerry hadn't seen the Beatles for quite a while. Okay, he was basically a handyman. He hung around there, this and that. He knew the history of them, all that, and the Kennedy relatives and all that shit. He knew all that. But when he found out, get this, when he found out that they were going to do a movie on them, all of a sudden Jerry started showing up there, and he hadn't seen it, but he writes stuff, had a book or something out there. I think I got the book from Walter Newkirk. Actually, it wasn't Jerry. The one I have is Walter Newkirk's okay, and he didn't play a big role anyway either. I mean, he wasn't in the movie, but everybody is an expert on Edith Beale. I'm not an expert on her. I'm not an expert on myself, Never listened Beale or her mom. Never claimed to be. My only claim to fame is I had something to do with the movie, that's all. It wasn't a grandiose thing, it was research assistance. That's all I'm saying. I never overplayed it. I was just saying I was grateful. But getting back to Jerry, Jerry would have his own Facebook and this and that and Twitter. And man, would he overplay his relationship. The fact is, little Edie thought he was a pest, right? Right, Kent Bartram? Little Edie thought he was a pest. Big Edie, which is Edie's mom, same namesake, Edith. That's why they call her Little Edie, Big Edie. Okay, she liked him. She thought Jerry was rather humorous. And Jerry came up with a book or something or some kind of thing called
Jerry's Corn. I'm not making this shit up. Right, Kent? Am I right, Kent? Jerry's Corn. What was Jerry known for in the movie? You want to know what he was known for in the movie? Because sometimes he would help Big Edie. They didn't have much money. They'd eat corn just to fill their stomachs up. Big Edie liked corn. I guess so did Little Edie. But Big Edie would have a little sterno stove or something in her bedroom upstairs. Right, Kent? And Jerry would help her boil some corn. And Jerry made a big ado about the corn. And they all related Jerry with the goddamn corn cob. I don't make this shit up. So Jerry came out with a book or something, I don't know what he did, called Jerry's Corn. They even did a Broadway musical. And it was, off-Broadway, actually. Off-Broadway. Having to do with Jerry's relationship to the Beatles. Jerry's Corn or something. I'm not kidding. I'm not making this shit up. A lot of this shit is funny. I never overplayed my relationship to Edie. After I finally met her a couple of times or so, and we kept in touch for a little bit. I had her letters, which I also sold on eBay for a good profit. And I still might have. I don't know. I might have a couple more here. I have to go through everything, but it was a situation where, okay, I photographed, got to see the house, okay, befriended her. She kept in touch a little. I kept in touch a little bit. A very poignant letter that she wrote me saying that mother says I always should want to go to France, but she wanted to have a career in Broadway. She wanted to sing and dance. But she contemplated going to France to live, but she wound up in Bal Harbour, Florida, where she was found dead after about a week or so in her condo in Bal Harbour. I met her several times. I kept in touch with her, had some letters from her. I got pictures of her, permission to do so, and I contributed under the category of research assistant in the HBO movie. That's as far as it went. That's as far as it goes. And that's it. Yeah. Oh, Popeye's picking the corn out of the shit. Yeah. But, truthfully, what have these trolls ever done that you know of? I have been on here for like 9+ years. I have not heard of anybody that made a grandiose accomplishment in their life. Not one person. Certainly not the trolls. Okay, what do you call an accomplishment? Well, moving to the Philippines, that's an accomplishment. I could give them a little kudos on that. To finally do it instead of living your life vicariously through all our videos on here, sure, why not? What did they accomplish? I don't know of anybody. In fact, any of the people that are always talking about me, I don't know if they had any accomplishments, and if they did, they sure didn't say they have. They sure did not display that they have. What kind of movies? Porn movies? Well, the only thing I ever had to do with any movies other than that was that I just kind of fucked up. I could have been an extra on Lost. Again, that's the could have, should have, could have, whatever thing, So don't make a damn difference. I just was too lazy to fly over to, what was the Oahu or Maui at the time. It was actually, and I wasn't an avid follower of it. This was the finale episode, and now that's when I kicked myself in the ass. But it didn't matter, because I would only be an extra in there. I'm not going to have a speaking part, any shit like that. That would upset the continuity of the film, You can't introduce necessarily new characters. They were all dead, remember, they didn't know it. But the last finale, yeah, I did fuck up on that. But it just wasn't worth it. The expenses are going there. They'll feed you lunch and all that stuff, and maybe give you $50 or something. It wasn't worth it just for that. But I really wasn't thinking that this was a finale. In fact, Lost is on. It's on Netflix right now, actually. Coulda, shoulda, coulda, shoulda. There's a lot of people out there that coulda, shoulda, but all they got to show for it is being a fucking waffle flipper. Talk about what you've done with a half a century of your fucking life. And it was Barry saying I never worked. Okay. Tell that to my injured back. Tell that to my muscles. Tell that to some injuries I've had. Tell that to the sweat that came off my brow all the time. That I didn't work. Tell that to two fucking inguinal hernias. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I worked. Not 40 years like some people that get that 40-year pension or whatever. I worked. I wouldn't be getting a Social Security check if I didn't work. Duh. Kent did cast him as a hater. Well, I would think that Kent did not exactly like Jerry. And I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I got the feeling that he didn't. And they threw Jerry into this original documentary, not the HBO. They threw Jerry into there because they needed more. They had to just put more element into there. Jerry, they had to bring somebody in. That Jerry was, the caretaker, handyman. He's a handyman. And they had to kind of put Jerry. I mean, Jerry showed up is what happened. Right, Kent? Jerry showed up. That's what happened. Well, I'm sorry that if Kent actually wrote that and actually said that, I'm sorry that he said that. I don't understand if he's upset with me. I don't hold any grudge with or anything against him. Except, if you want to call it that he had to use a proxy to buy my negatives. He could have just asked me, hey, I just want to straight out purchase all your negatives. I'm kind of upset with that a little bit. He'd have to use his lawyer to buy my photographs. That was unnecessary. Just ask me. Under his name. Why hide it? He didn't want me to know. Because maybe he thought I wouldn't sell it to him. Maybe that's what it was all about. So you had to use I call it a proxy, but that's not the right word. Well, Kent could characterize me all he wants. I'm not going to attack Kent. I'm not playing that. I'm not going to attack him. He can think what he wants. It's over with. He played his part with his writing and, with his research. Michael Sousey was the director of the movie. He played his part, and everybody else had anything to do with the movie. Everybody had some little element they played in there. And when it was put together, it's just like a soup. You put the right ingredients in, voila, you have a movie. Edited, done, ready to go and market. And everybody, as minute or seemingly insignificant their role, whether you were into a gaffer or whatever you were, whatever you did in a movie, whether you were a water boy or something, you contributed to the movie. And it all came together, and I think it was the HBO movie, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, as I said, I think it was a little bit over dramatic in some scenes. If you want to go back to the original documentary and compare it, but all in all, it was okay. He deceived you, sounds like to me. I don't know, possibly. Not from him, I didn't. No. Not from him, I didn't. But for the other negatives, there was about 50 images I sold, and I still got like 100. I got paid fairly well for that. But from him, no. It was fucking candy money, pocket money. About $5,000. 5,000. And that was really underpriced. And there is truth to that. Because at that time, I was going to be moving to the Philippines. That would be correct. That would be correct. And that's the only reason I sold it for 5,000. But I sold about 35, I don't know, 35 individual negatives. Now, I got 40 grand for the other stuff, and it wasn't anything to do with him and his lawyer, okay? Yeah. Nothing to do with him and his lawyer. Because I know who the person was. And he was a friend of my friend, Mel Edelglass, who was a photographer from School of Visual Arts. No, excuse me. New York Tech is where I first met Mel. He lived in a brownstone on East 17th. And he was a photographer, did a lot of stuff for Americana. It was his friend that actually bought the negatives off me. Mel had an interest in the Edith Beale stuff, but he was a photographer himself. He didn't need that. And Mel was not a person that was going to go put out that kind of money for some fucking negatives. He just wouldn't do that. I know the guy. But he turned me on to somebody that had money, that had a deep interest in Grey Gardens, and voila, I made some decent money for the time. $40,000. So I did okay. Illuminar says, honestly, I think Barry fed some big-time lies to Kent. Oh, what do you think, man? Look, I never met Kent, and Kent never met me. All they did was, they're sharing all these bullshit videos on me to try to make a bad image of me. The lies, the editing, and everything else that goes along with it. That's all. Kent is seeing what they want him to see. That's all it is. You don't know somebody until you actually met them in person. You call anybody any name you want. Doesn't mean that's who they are, what they're all about. That's just the way it is. What time you got there? It's 2:53. Okay. I got to do something in another hour. I'll talk for a little bit more, but not too much longer. You girls want to go out? Come on. Go get some sun. Thomas said you exploited her grief of loss of her mother, and they were very The one thing I don't do is I'm not intrusive with my photography. I told you guys how I photograph people and how the lens is extraordinarily intrusive to somebody. I never did anything intrusive in any way. And I've only met her like 3 times total. That was it. No more than that. Intrusive. She lived bumfuck Egypt away from me over in Mount Vernon, New York, you know. That was a long way to commute. Long way. I wasn't intrusive, and don't mind his fucking comments, man. Exploited her grief. Well, I know where that statement comes from. I've even read it, actually, on a commenter. I could remember, my memory goes back. There was a lot of her photographs that showed Edie. Now, you gotta understand, her mother was house alone, and she had to get her life together. And then, you know, their plans for the future, whether France or, you know, whether she'd stay in New York, if she wound up moving to Florida. Well, she was, I understand, to be very happy. I never communicated with her while she was in Florida. Actually, I didn't know where she was. Yeah, I have photographs up there that do show her looking very somber. That's photography. That's catching somebody's character in a real moment. That's what true photography is. For those that are not ever into the profession, even as a hobby or personal, whatever it is, if you want your pictures to come alive, you bring their character out. That's exactly what I did with anyone I photographed. And yes, I had lots of pictures of her looking quite somber, deep in thought. That's how you have to capture somebody. You don't want them to necessarily say, "Hey, pose for the picture." No, man, you're not gonna capture somebody's personality that way. The best photographers in the world, they know what they're doing. I gotta give them credit. You cannot be a person who likes to do, shall I call them,
character photographs. You can't just walk up to them and shove a lens in their face. And you can't walk up to anybody and shove a lens in their face. You just can't do that. I exploited her grief. Hello. That's such a crock of shit, you know. Edie was a nice woman. Yeah, she was eccentric by everybody's definition. There's no question about that. I could say that with, you know, every ounce of my thoughts about it. You know, she was eccentric, man, but in a good way. I mean, she was funny. She knew how to joke, and she came out with so many lines that they got from Grey Gardens. Everything from staunch character. I mean, there's so many. The dress of the day, you know, and things like that. I mean, there's so many little punchlines in there. That was truly Edith Beale. That was truly her. They did capture that on the HBO. They did capture that. No, nobody exploited anybody. Then there was way in the past, they were talking about this again, way in the past, I exploited her. Oh, you mean I capitalized on her? I sure as hell did. I had her permission, so why the fuck not? Yeah, I capitalized like any one of you all. But I had permission. That's the big difference. I had permission, had a model form. I carried with me, it was just an index sized card, ready made out, called a model release form. And Kent and anybody else would be familiar with that. Maybe sometimes more elaborate through the lawyer, but all it takes, it was that and a signature on there. I wish I still had it. I'd show you it right now. Nevertheless, I did get permission. That's the bottom line, without making a bigger story than it is. I photographed her, and that's it. That's history. And the ending of this topic on Edith Beale, because it's even becoming played out for me. I can't control somebody's jealousy, you know, that they haven't made any accomplishments in their life. I made plenty. Maybe not all grandiose, but I made plenty. I got one of them sitting down next to me right now. This is the biggest accomplishment I had in my life. Right here. Right here. That's one of my big. No Edith Beale, no nothing, having a fucking stupid show. Other than the birth of my daughter, whether we talk or not is irrelevant at this point, but besides that, that were the two main things in my life. Having a child and yeah, it's one of those lazy afternoons, man. You know where we got to go in about an hour, right? Okay.
It's still early.
I know, I said an hour. Yeah. What's that here? Says you. Oh, Magico says karma, Barry, karma coming. Yeah, it will. Believe me, in a big way. Because, like as I said, um, he's just continual of inflicting pain upon himself, and I can't say I totally understand it, but I do, in some respect, understand it. That he's miserable and he's bitter and he's upset. He's not going to say good things about me. I mean, would you? Are you responsible for getting his ass in jail on trial for something he did, which is really unrighteous? You wouldn't feel good about it, but you know what you did. Does he deserve to be in this position? Yes, he does. Absolutely. There's no question about it. There's no second thoughts about this. There's none. He's where he should be, and more so. I mean, I hope they do. Never mind one of his lies. He's being shipped out to Bicuton. Does anybody ever remember on here any time he's ever told the truth about anything? Oh, he did once. Illuminati's video where they caught him on there. Yeah, I beat the shit out of my wife. And they just repeated, yeah, I beat the shit out of my wife. And he said that. And he was on camera saying it. To this day, he denies it. To this day, he denies it.
But he was on a live stream, and Says Style was on there, and I think Aloe, and who else was on there? It was Roberto. You got to remember the one. And somehow the truth comes out. If Barry is not all the time, but if Barry is on a live stream, you know, and they ask him a question or something, he slips a lot. I noticed that he slips a lot, and he slipped on there when he admitted. And he's also admitted on his own show many times, more contemporary times, that he's done a lot of wrong to people. And when Yats interviewed him, I remember a few things he said in there. Go back to that interview. Yeah, slanderous. I exploited, yeah, nobody exploited Edith Bill's grief. Absolutely not. I caught her as she was. And by the way, that's what a photographer does. You want to capture real emotion with somebody. You don't want to instill it. You don't want to choreograph it unless it's meant. Okay, like here, sit here for a portrait. And telling her what to do, smile, look mad, look sad. That's all choreographed. Even the portraits, the close-up portraits I took of her, I got a couple of really nice ones. Very well done. Caught her in a great mood and, happy, and she had that half smile. That was a real emotion. And other photographs showed her head down a little bit. She looked kind of somber. That was real emotion. There you go. That makes the difference between a suck-ass photographer and a decent photographer, or a great photographer. That's the difference. If you could bring someone's character out in a photograph, or a painting for that much. Look at the Mona Lisa. Everybody's still wondering what's behind that subtle smile. And that's the mystery of that painting that nobody knows, and probably nobody will ever know. Who was the Mona Lisa? And that smile that has, made millions of people with the same question. What was the artist thinking at the time? What was she thinking when he was painting her? Why that little subtle smile? That's the beauty of it. That's the whole thing. Did you shout at her to get her? Oh, come on, Thomas. Come on. Sounds like you're a troll. I'm just gonna get rid of you. I explained on there. Shout at her. No, that's not exactly a way to communicate against what you want with your subject. You're not going to shout at them. I know you meant that as an insult. I know that. He's just kind of ragging on me here, pulling my chain a little bit. But no, nobody yelled at her. Why in the world would I do that? She's a good woman. No reason to yell at her, especially somebody who wants pictures. Yeah, that'll end your session right there, wouldn't it? All right, end of subject on Edith Beale. I'm even burnt out on it, and I'm the one that took the pictures, and I'm burnt out on it. Grey Gardens is history. If you watched it and liked it, good for you. Is it worthwhile seeing at least once? I would probably see the documentary, because they were using real life Edie and her mom. If you had to choose between the two, I would say go and see the original documentary. Nothing was really rehearsed in that movie. Except they knew when she was going to be doing the marching song. What was it, the Navy or whatever marching song, when she was coming down her long stairways, and she was dancing with the American flag, waving it and all that. But God, that's something for Popeye. Popeye puts his flags on his little mobile immobility scooter. That scene there, I think, was I don't know, somewhat prearranged. I'm thinking, because that was a key moment in there. That was a part of the movie on the original documentary that was I thought it was really interesting the way she came down the stairs, and it really showed out her eccentricity and her character. But she had a bubbly character too. No expert on the woman at all. I've learned a lot from that original documentary. That is what brought my interest. There you go. You're hearing it right here. And her mother was alive at the time when they made the documentary. But that's what brought my interest to Edith Beale. And what happened was, to further that, she was being interviewed on a talk show. And this is what did it for me. Here's the story, and it's really short. She was on a talk show, and I don't remember what she was talking about. And I found her to be a really interesting person, as a person who liked to photograph people, you know, good characters. Well, when I saw that interview on some kind of a talk show, as I recall it was, I said, wonder if she was listed in the book. They had a phone, so I looked it up. And by golly, she answered the fucking phone. And we talked for a while, and I told her who I was. I was a student at SVA. And we talked for a while, and to build up a little trust in me, to understand me a little bit. That's what you do. That's when I got the permission and invite to come over and take pictures. That's how it happened. That's exactly how it happened. She was on a talk show. There you go, and the rest is history. Homophobic. What is this guy saying about me? Why would Kent say that? Homophobic. Damn, I'm hearing a lot of shit here that is very unnecessary. Who the fuck is he to say I'm saying these things when I never did? Homophobic. Dude, I rented the fucking gays at my house in Hawaii. 2 of them. If I had anything against gay people, I sure as hell wouldn't rent to them. Why would he say something like that? I don't know what his sexual preference is. I think he could be. In fact, I'm not sure, but I think he is. And if he was, big fucking deal. I never jump on the guy because he was gay, if that's the case. Because personally, I don't give a shit what he does in his bedroom. Or anybody else. I don't have to do that. So I don't know where this shit is coming out from. It's starting to get a little ugly now. Homophobic? Come on, get real. I'm living in a fucking country where there's one on every fucking corner. Okay? Transvestites, you name it. Big time. I'm not going around knocking these people because they prefer a different sex or same sex or whatever. That's never been an issue with me. Certainly not here in this country ever. There's more of that going on here than most places. It surrounds us. People make their own sexual preferences. They do what they want in the bedroom. I have no control of that. I may not like it. I may not believe in that. But I don't give a shit what they do. God, all this shit that's coming out here, it's really getting more interesting. And what is that book you were talking about earlier? Let me scroll down here. See if I could copy this. This author, who I never heard of actually, but I haven't been. There's so much stuff on Grey Gardens and the Beals. I can't keep up with that shit. There's always somebody profiteering somewhere on that. So as far as I know, he never came out with his book Staunch Character. That's a shame. I don't know what's happening. He couldn't find a publisher for it or something. Just the problem is that there's too much. He waited too long. I think I mentioned that on the comments section having to do on the internet. I think he waited. I don't know if it came out or not. I think he waited too long to publish this book because there was too much shit out on Edith Beale. There was much too much shit out. And I think it would have been really hard to sell a book like that and actually make any money on it. I don't know what happened with his situation, but I would say that the timing on there was just not good. That book should have been released around the time that the HBO movie came out. That's when the book should have been released, but apparently he either wasn't finished with the book or he couldn't find a publisher. I don't know. I don't know what personally happened. I could speculate, but that's the time where he could have got this thing going if he didn't. Fern Bernstein or Stein. Fern Bernstein. Okay. Fern Bernstein. I'll look that up. Speaking of, I gotta go. Well, I don't know why anybody's saying anything, to tell you the truth. But I'll give another message to Barry. You are one big fuck up, Barry. And look, man, you can say anything you want for me behind your cell and behind your fucking cell phone, but I'll see you in court in March. Show up instead of cowering out and going on the camera, dude. I will be there in person. I think it's my time to be witness. And wait till I'm on that stand, buddy. Wait till I'm on that stand.